Welcome to the Celebrating Women in Business journals. I am your host, Sarah Jenkins. Here at Celebrating Women in Business, we are a welcoming community of women who empower one another through recognition, collaboration, and genuine connection. By celebrating achievements, big and small, sharing knowledge, and inspiring each other, this gives everyone the power to grow. So, welcome. I have a special guest with me today. We have Kris Davies. She is a spiritual artist and owner of Sky Blue Paints. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So, tell us a little bit about your creative business.
So my creative business, yes, it's empowerment art, which is built upon layers. So it's one layer at a time. So I create affirmations, poems that go on the first layer, and we build the layers and build the layers. It's all channeled, but it's full of symbolism and color numerology. And the idea is to help women to feel seen and sovereign within with any life limitations. So I create obviously original pieces, and I offer commissions. My work is in the Kenfig Nature Reserve, a gallery, so that it can be seen there. But this has all just come about this year, and in fact, a few months really. And I'm still trying to get my head around it all. So I've sold some pieces now as well, original art, which is phenomenal, to say the least. It's empowering for myself, it's healing for myself, and that's why I started
Yeah.
doing
And,
it in the first place.
and if you have a look at well, you obviously you know, but if people have a look at your art, it's very much so detailed, and you can spend like so long just looking at different sections, and every section sort of tells a story.
Yeah.
It's really yeah, it's a lovely thing. And I know that you sell, is it cards and things like that as well?
Yeah, so it's cards, prints,
Yeah.
and various other bits with my artwork on, including some cushions as well. And basically, yeah, I create a portal. It's creating a portal to draw you in, and sit sit with it. The idea is, whether it's a card, whether it's a print, whether it's a, a huge original, whatever it is, the idea is for you to sit with it, draw yourself into it, and think, right, like you say, what do I see today? Why is that particular thing, whether it's a star or a crystal, because they're all finished with crystals on the original. So why am I seeing that today? Not just looking at it and, walking past, or if it's in your hall or whatever. It's the idea is it pulls you in. It pulls you in.
Yeah, it definitely does. And actually you run workshops, so you help people to create their own art as well.
Yes. So I've got a workshop running in January, again at Kenfig Nature Reserve, January the 14th. It's a piece all about yourself. So whenever I create art, I always start with color numerology. So it'll be creating a piece for yourself from your own colors. It's a gentle navigating way of building a layer at a time, where you will end up with a piece of art for yourself, and you come out of it then feeling seen. It's all about regulating that nervous system.
Definitely, and there are so many benefits to being creative. Um, but what would you say to somebody who's go, oh my God, I'd love to do that, but I'm just not good at art? What would you say?
Well, this is what I get a lot of. And generally I do say, well, do you doodle? Can you doodle? And yeah, I can doodle, you know, it might be a little heart, or it might be a little flower or something like that. And I said, well, that's what you need to do. That's all you need to do, because actually, when I put the first layer of affirmations or whatever, I actually do doodles on there, and it's literally like childhood stars, and it might be a heart, or it might be a moon, or whatever, because but it's what comes out you at that time. It does not matter. A massive thing I've learned, and I know we've talked about this before, is that inner critic that comes out, even if you're good at art, even if you've done art for years, no matter what it is, that inner critic comes out and says, oh, that's not good enough, that's not good enough. That's a mistake. But nothing is a mistake. If a paint drops on it or whatever, you can create something out of that. And it is saying, well, no, I'm not here, not here for my inner critic. I'm here to soothe my nervous system. And right, let's put that to one side and let's
Yeah.
just play. Remember the childhood play. That is the thing.
Oh,
Remember the childhood play and just go with that.
that's lovely. And it is so beneficial. And the you've got one on the 12th,
14th, January 14th, 14th, isn't
14th.
it? You should know. So it's straight
My
afterwards,
my event's
celebrating.
on the 12th. Oh,
Oh,
actually,
so
here we
it's the
go.
12th then. I beg your pardon. My
It's on a
goodness.
Wednesday. It's
I
on a
better,
Wednesday.
yeah, it's on a Wednesday. I better check my things. So yeah, it's January, the second week in January, on a Wednesday, straight after Sarah's celebrating women in business, networking in Kenfig Nature Reserve. So it's straight after there, and sort of 12:15-ish to about 2:45. But I've got the room till 3:30. So it's basically, if people need to go, kids and what have you, they can just go. But if people want to carry on playing, they can, because it's all about play. That's what it's all about. And I bring everything. And you know, if you want to bring anything yourself, you can. But I bring everything, and yes. So just if it's something that calls to you, you know, come and join.
So what we'll do is at the end we'll go through how people can find you, and then people can find you on there. But we'll carry on for now, and we'll do that at the end. Reminds me if I forget. But I have got it written down. So my
Blind
next
leading the
question.
blind.
My next question is, over the years, you have had a number of different careers. What I admire about you is your ability to not be stuck, but to actually move around. Because there are often people who have been doing their jobs 20, 30, 40 years. They feel really stuck. They're really unhappy, but they're really afraid to take that leap into another career. So, what advice would you give somebody that is stuck in their job, who doesn't like it, who wants to move on to do something that they love?
Well, I would probably ask them, why are you still there? If you're that miserable, you know, it's not healthy, it's not good for you, good for anybody. And it's just saying, I'm doing it. I've got to say yes to it. And for me, it was more about, yeah, I had to diversify so many times through my, you know, 40-year career in beauty and holistics. So it wasn't so much changing career, it was changing aspects of it. There was certain things, but it's, you know, it's because when life gets in the way, you know, with multiple children in tow and extra children that came along, and then different things happening, it's, well, right, what can I do with this? So I have gone to work for other people. I've gone to work with big organizations, but it is about, you know, as I said, there's some people might say, oh, what you doing? I used to get, what you doing now, Kris? You know, what you doing now? And I thought, well, no, actually, I wasn't happy with that. So
Hmm.
I'm doing this.
Yeah,
And because I'm not prepared to lay down and just take, well, that's your lot.
yeah,
And unfortunately, I walked away from jobs because of things like that before now. But we're only here once. You've got to do something you're happy with at the end of the day, you know.
I think for a lot of people, it's the confidence and it's the fear of, will this work? Because it is hard work working for yourself, but it's so beneficial in so many other ways, being able to be flexible. Um, and yeah, and it's not easy, but
No, it's
set,
not
yeah,
easy.
it's,
And especially if you've been working for someone and you've had a wage, you
yeah.
know, there are ways and means of doing it. You know, if you, you know, one time I had 3 jobs on the go. When the children were little, you know, I worked evenings selling skincare. I was teaching for a local college and I was doing my own treatments, because that's what I needed to do. But the idea is they can build one then as you can reduce the other. And it does work. You know, I know a lot of people do it, but or try to do it and they say, well, it
Mhm.
didn't work. But it doesn't work is because you haven't decided you're stepping all in. You've got to
Yeah,
go all in.
yeah. And as well, and I think I've said this on other interviews, it's find something that you're passionate about. So there are things that I'm good with. So I'm quite good at working with children. But
Well, I
I
hope
don't,
so.
yeah, I've had many different jobs working with children, but it's not something that I always feel really passionate about. So
Yeah.
it's there, but the celebrating women in business, I'm passionate about. So it does well because I put more in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but there's not many people can say they absolutely love their job. There's not
Mm,
many people can actually say that. And to find that passion, it might not be there. And what I've noticed, it might not be there as you think it's going to be at that point. I spent many years working on my life purpose and all of this. And you think, right, that's it. So you start working with that, start working on that. I think, well, no, actually it's not. And so it's something else, something else. But during that time, you are growing in that.
yes,
And sometimes it's right under your nose, but we all passion, we all want this huge patterned passion. And I know people do sometimes have difficulty finding that. And be honest, that was me. That was me. And that's another reason I kept changing, diversifying, because it just wasn't good enough then
yeah, yeah.
for me. It's not just about money at the end of the day.
No, and there are good parts and bad parts of even when you're doing something that you're passionate about. I mean,
Yeah.
tax return. Oh, I think I might outsource that at some point. But do you know what? I have a laugh every time I ask you guys what your allergies are and what you can and can't eat, and you all come back to me, and half of you are fine, and then the other half of you give me a lovely list.
Yes.
So, so
Sorry.
I think, oh, how am I going to explain this to the restaurant? But they've always been good, but it does scare me because I go, no, I always get scared. They go, no, no, not today.
Yeah.
But as I said, there are some
Yeah.
parts that we love, and there are some parts that challenge us, which
Totally.
in a nice way.
Totally. Well, yeah, and it's life.
Yeah,
It's generally working with people because people, there's different things, isn't there, with people that we deal
yeah,
with every day. And as at one time, that's why I went to work purely with animals because I thought I can't do that anymore. But then, of
yeah,
course, they came with owners.
yeah,
So, it is to work with an animal all the time is absolutely fantastic. But
yeah.
you know, but that's is what it is. That's life, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yes, yes, and I do. I love what I do. It just
Great.
makes me laugh at times. Right.
And you put
So
that.
my next question is, you were diagnosed with ADHD later on in life. So how has this diagnosis helped you?
Well, so it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but yeah, I was diagnosed this year at 60 years old, and it it was something that was being mentioned a few years ago to me, and I sort of laughed it off and things, but finally had the full diagnosis this year. I'll be honest, when I was told initially, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I
Hmm.
knew it was going to be a yes. I didn't realize I would have 100% on every list that they have. And I was like, oh
And,
my God. Um, and yeah, I struggled a little bit at first, I could be honest, because it was a bit of a grief thing
hmm.
came up for me, or what maybe life would have been like if I'd known about this before. But it has given me another language, another logic
Yeah.
then to my lifelong patterns. And I'm still learning what those are. It might be blatantly obvious to some, but I am still learning what that is. And but also, as I said, I spent so many years hunting for my purpose, working on trauma, working on them for years and years and years and years, because I always thought there was something wrong with me. It was the way I was reacting and whatever, which obviously I was in certain ways. But when I had this, this was confirmed this year, I actually thought, well, actually, there isn't anything wrong with me. This
No.
is who I am. And unfortunately, it was my upbringing and schooling and all those things that didn't help me.
Yeah.
And which obviously, you know, never heard of ADHD when I was a kid, let alone, I was just starting to hear about it when my kids were young, really. So, so it's given me another viewpoint, but also acceptance. I'm starting to accept myself. Um,
Yes.
with all the craziness and everything else that goes with, because for a long time, you said the other day, I don't know how people can forget you. I do get I people don't remember me. It's quite interesting. People don't remember me, but because I was always that quiet girl at the back. I was
Mm,
always a quiet girl at the back. I was always too afraid to say or do, or everything was very, I went to a convent as well, so you can imagine everything was boom, 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 boom.
yeah.
So there's always been this inner thing wanting to come out of me. So sometimes I've got a very loud laugh. I was told that was embarrassing, that was embarrassing and what have you. And so you slowly but surely start dumbing down, dumbing down, dumbing down. And so when you get that, by the time you're 60, it's
Hmm.
like, who am I then?
Yeah.
Actually, which one of those versions is me? It's because you've had to learn to adapt. But I am. And then when I have a mad moment while I'm feeding the dogs and doing something besides, and I start singing at the top of my head and dancing around the kitchen, I think, yeah, that's me. You've got to
Yeah. And
learn.
I think, I mean, I haven't been diagnosed, but I suspect that I have ADHD. And um, it is really sad, isn't it? That, these things are not diagnosed earlier, or that we don't have the support, the mental health support in schools. Because
Mm.
I was the same. I was always very quiet because I was always afraid to say the wrong thing. And even now, well, I'll have a conversation with somebody and it'll go over my head again and again. Did I smile at the wrong part, or did I say the wrong thing? And it's so hard. It really is.
It is hard. And I think I always think when I learned to be a teacher and that for in colleges and that, and part of the learning, part of the, the teaching qualification was understanding the different learning, the different characters in the room. And you'd have the loud one, the loud chops one, you'd have the very, very quiet one, because you tend to notice those. It's the ones
Yeah.
in the middle that you don't always notice. And
Mhm.
I think that was where I see myself, I'd have been there.
Yeah.
Um, because you're following, doing as you're told. But it wasn't about, when I was young, and even on a call the other day when I was being asked questions about it and things. Well, didn't you have support? And did you go to a mainstream school? Well, yeah, there wasn't any such thing like that. Did you have support in exams? No. You know, we had to get on with it. End of. But it
Yeah,
wasn't such a
yeah. And I mean, for me, I did very well in school because my brain was just like, what's this? What's this? What's this? And I was the annoying child sat in the front. Yeah, but why is that? Why is that? The teacher thought I was being disruptive, which I wasn't. I just wanted to know why.
no, but we wouldn't have been allowed to get away with that. See, in a convent, you
No,
would not speak because you'd been beaten, basically. So it's you didn't, but it's I was told I was scatterbrained back then, and that's I
yeah,
don't know the exact time, and it's like these seeds start going in, don't they? And yeah, I am scatterbrained. Somebody told me a while ago I'm like a butterfly, and all this, but now I know why. But this
yeah,
is why I have been able to have different pathways and different things because my mind won't settle. It's
no,
trying to find, and this is why I could get 6 kids to school, and run a business and run a home and all of that with no support. Um, but that is why I could do those things. And I
yeah.
didn't know that at the time.
It's a superpower. It really is. And I think it's getting to the point where it's accepted more in society. And I personally believe it's the way forward for people. I think we're evolving. You know,
Yeah,
we've
oh
got
yeah.
all these labels, but actually I think our brains are evolving to superhumans.
Superhumans.
Yeah.
Infinity. Oh, that's better like it. Yeah. Superman. Yeah, you could well be right there. You could well
Yeah.
be right there. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
'Cause,
could well be right there.
I mean,
Mm.
there seems to be more people, but that, they do argue the fact that maybe there were people that had autism, ADHD, and the rest, but it wasn't recognized at the time.
No,
But
no.
there does seem to be a lot more people, and I think the school system needs to change. I don't know if this is a topic for another day, but it does to support
Mm,
us and
mm,
support people like
mm.
us, I think. Um,
Yeah. It's say when I was in school, we were just put in different classes depending on what was seen as how well you did in exams, and
yeah,
then filed into these things, and it just that's how it was. It's you can't change that. I didn't do well in my I did O levels, not GCSEs, but I did not do well at all. I had no understanding of how to revise, but we didn't do coursework. We didn't have stuff for coursework. It was exams. Everything was based on your
mm,
exams. So the fear factor, cramming it the night before, the no disorganization. It was just, but then, I went to beauty therapy then to do beauty therapy, and I did a course that was 2 years into 10 months. So because it was so condensed,
mhm,
that's why now I understand. That is why I was able to go boom, 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 because I loved it.
yeah,
It was, a lot of science in it. It was all that. I was really good at what I did. And, but because I did it in that period of time, boom, 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 I, obviously that was how my mind worked,
yeah.
So it worked out in that respect.
It's very interesting, isn't it? So I'm gonna move on to another question. What has been the hardest thing you've had to overcome within your career? I'm sure there's many things.
Yeah, yeah. So there's many things I can think of. There's many things on personal levels and financial, lots of different things. But the most recent then I am going to say about is, so last year, just over a year ago, well, in fact, 3 years ago, I had diagnosis of osteoarthritis in my neck,
Hmm.
which actually the bone spurs have actually grown around the nerves going on my arms. So they're actually squeezing the nerve in my arm. And I've got it in various other places, but I've got a couple of other autoimmune things going on as well, and other bits and pieces. But a year ago, just over a year ago, I was actually working for Clarence at the time, and I had a procedure done, and it created an inflammatory response. And during that, I could not use my hands at all.
Hmm.
And basically, then by February, because it was going from flare up to flare up, flare up, I thought, well, there's no way. I had to realize there was no way I could do the job that I trained for over 40 years ago,
Yeah.
um, because I can't. My hand seizes up, I lose the use of my hand and other things. So I was in that moment of what what am I? One, it was the thoughts of where's this going to go for my
Yeah.
future, as
Yeah.
you as always when you get these, things come out. I didn't know what it was going to look like. But two, I thought, well, what am I going to do? Because all my life, I've been able to always fall back on beauty and holistics. Whether it was selling a bit of skincare, whether it was making skincare as I did then during lockdown,
Hmm.
whether it was selling crystals, whether it was, all those things
Yeah.
that um, but I thought if I can't use my hands, what the hell am I going to do? And then I thought to myself, I remember thinking this flash came through me about art, and I thought I've never really picked up paintbrush or things much since I was in school, apart from then helping the kids. And I thought, well, I can't even do that now.
Hmm.
And then I thought, you know what? I've got another hand. I've got another hand. So I've always thought I'm quite ambidextrous. All right, it's nowhere near as good as my dominant hand, but I think my job, we had to be quite ambidextrous. So I started doodling with my non-dominant hand. And then the healing started coming in, because what I didn't know at the time, when you start using a non-dominant hand, you're using the other side of your brain. So it opens up different thought processes and so on. And it actually does help to improve the neurons in that part of the brain, but also the ones you use a lot. So it's a good practice to do. And I started doing it, and I thought, well, that's okay, that's okay. And I was just playing along. And then when my right hand was a bit better, I might do a little bit and what have you. And of course, I got to support my neck very often. So I'm very often in a brace. And so at times I just can't do it.
Hmm.
But I just started tiny steps, step by step. At that time, I never thought about it being a business. I just thought, I needed help myself. I needed that
Yeah.
mental health thing to get me out of the rut I was getting myself into, um and see where, and then I thought, okay, this isn't so bad. Um and just started doing little things, a layer
Yeah.
at a time, a layer at a time, making little things. And of course, then I thought, right, so I came down to your event in Kenfig. I
Hmm.
didn't really know what I was doing there in one way. I just thought, let's get out, because I needed to get out. I can't always
Yeah.
drive far. So I thought, right, let's manage that. And I'm sat there, and I suppose it's just nice being in a room full of women who are so friendly in your
Yeah.
place. Always so friendly and welcoming. And I just thought, well, it actually was quite a nice place, a situation in one way for me to be, because I thought I'm not actually going to say I do this and not panic. I really didn't know what I was doing with it. I thought it was quite a nice place to be, and I started with affirmation cards, and I started, and I created a journal, didn't I? And you
Yeah,
saw that, but that was too much hard work. It took me hours and hours and hours. It
yeah,
is beautiful. I still use it, but so I didn't know where this was going to go. But coming to your networking, the thing is, for me, in a business environment, that's more natural for me. Whereas somebody else might think, I'll go to maybe go to WI, or I might,
yeah,
something like, but for me, I'm more in sync, I think, with business women
yeah.
in business type things. But I, and I'm looking around then, I'm looking around at the art on the walls there in the gallery, and I'm looking and thinking, when could I do that? No one could do that. So it was just for me, it was being that open. And I thought, right, let's give it a go. So I thought I had such nervousness about creating a full art piece because I hadn't done anything like that, as I say.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the last one was when I was in college, and that was for somebody else. And can I do it? Can I do it? And then I just started doing it through one layer at a time, one step at a time, and working within my limitations. And then I started creating this art, and it's like, okay, okay. And then I sent a message to Lorna,
Mm-hmm.
who obviously set up the gallery and the photographers down there, and she said, I want that. And my gallery went, what? Really? Really? It's gallery worthy?
Uh,
And that's where it started. And that's where it started. And slowly it is changing. It is
yeah,
changing. And um, it's learning to, it is hard, it's learning to go with that flow. Obviously I'm just starting really. You know, um, I haven't earned for a year. That's the thing. It's
mm-hmm.
just finding those bits and pieces, and which is hard, but I've got to look after myself first.
Yeah. And do you know what? I think your whole story is so inspirational for so many different reasons. I love the bit of just a small amount at a time, small steps, because I think small steps are so much better than just jumping into something. Um, I think that somebody at home that might be feeling that maybe they have a disability or whatever, that it's inspiring to go, actually, if I just do a couple of things a day or one thing a day, then
Yeah.
I will get to an end point.
Explore. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's and I'll be honest, Sarah, I was always, let's do that. And yeah, woof, everything. Like to jump in, boom,
Yeah.
no fear. That's ADHD as well. It's just jump in, let's
Yeah.
go for it. And yeah, bang, bang. And more often than not, when I've done that, it's always worked, right? I've always got
Yeah.
away with it. But when life gives you things where you can't do it, hence I couldn't move, I couldn't do things. I thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And it was very alien.
Yeah.
But I think it's taught me many lessons. And I think it is taking one step, allowing yourself to take one step at a time. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and also, even if it's for 10 minutes, but you know what it's like. We decide to do something for 10 minutes when you've got ADHD, you might want to put your timer on.
Yes. 2 hours later.
Yeah. Oh, look, I've disappeared. I've disappeared into my portal in my art for the last God knows, and then I can't move. So I have got to be very mindful. I have got to
Yeah.
be mindful. I've got to be mindful. If I've done a few stores this year, I've got to manage my energy around that before,
Yeah.
after, comes the networking, you're doing things. But does cause limitations, but it's working within your limitations. And what I say, I just can't believe what has occurred this year
Yeah.
from just playing, just allowing myself that play, stopping the criticism,
Mm-hmm.
because like start doodling with your left hand, it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So
And
it's yeah.
when you said it as well, I thought to myself, if you hadn't of decided to do that, could it have just seized up and got a lot worse for you? So maybe you wouldn't have the use of your hands right now.
Um, no, not in that respect.
Hmm.
Because I only use that when I still can't use it a lot, but
Yeah,
it's not so much. It's my problem is here
yeah,
causing this. So it's what goes on here and it affects my head. So no, it isn't that, but it
hmm,
can be that for many people.
yeah,
Definitely. It isn't that. I have to have an awareness of different things, and then I don't, and I suppose the answer is I don't know really. They tell me no, it
yeah,
wouldn't. I don't know is the
yeah.
answer, but it's the mental part of it. I was in Tesco's the other day waiting by the pharmacy for my prescription, and there's a poster on the wall about mental health and
Hmm.
different things. I didn't know there was a reading. I can't remember what it's called, but if you like to read, and there's a whole organization about reading books for your mental health. There's nothing on there about creativity. There was nothing about their art. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, really? There's so
It,
much out there at the minute.
it, I think it annoys me a little bit, this topic, because creativity is so useful for so many things. It's good for our mental health. It's good for if you are working in science and whatever, because allowing ourselves to be creative, it uses the different sides of the brain. It opens us up to ideas. Um, there's so
Mhm.
many benefits to it. Yet in schools, if children are struggling with their maths and English, they take them out of their creative subjects to do that. Um, so why not actually give them a story to write? Be creative and
Yeah,
improve your English that way rather
yeah.
than reading Shakespeare, you know? Um,
Mm. I didn't know they
it's
still did that. That's awful. But I think,
yes.
I've been a meditation teacher over the years as a crystal healer. And I practiced many things myself. And when I started allowing myself to play and have fun, I noticed my head really emptied. Whereas meditation, you've still got that little talk coming in and what have you, and it's practice. I couldn't believe how that whole spacious, like you stood in a field with all trees around you, that moment when there's just nothingness. It's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
and that's when healing happens. It's when synapses in your brain actually spark and heal. And this is where the channeling comes in. This is where the channeling, and when you realize that, and anyone can do that, anyone can do that. And so when people say to me, but I can't draw, but it's because you're telling yourself you can't. And also it's about going in that flow state. It's in that flow state. And when you're in that flow state, anything. I've written, all right, it's not finished yet, but I've written the bones of a poem this morning for my next art piece.
Hmm.
And I just got into that channeling, pulled a couple of cards, I got my crystals, I've cleaned the area, got a candle, but it is then getting into that moment. And what I do is I start writing, or I dictate into my phone, whichever way is what else going on my hand or whatever. But I don't think. I just let whatever's coming out. And as soon as I realize I've stopped to, oh, what's next? I'm not in flow again. So you just
Yeah.
think, right, the next word is this. And sometimes I think, does that make any sense at all? But when you read it back, I think, oh my God, I wrote that. That's like, but it's coming, it's channeling. That is
Yeah.
channeling. And that's how I created the Dragon Mandala poem that's in the poetry book that we're both in, the rhythm.
Yeah.
And, and the same, well, it's not the finished piece, but behind me is my Dragon Mandala painting. That's actually not the finished version, but I downloaded it, and I know people that can paint and draw when they're in channeling, and in real life, they can't.
Hmm. Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
It's
just
it's ha-
magic.
it's having access to maybe a part of the brain that we don't. always have access to.
Well, it depends on your beliefs, I suppose. There is
Yeah.
that, not the channeling,
Sorry.
universal energy. Some people
Yeah.
it's spirit, it's whatever your, but the fact is, whatever it is that it's going in that flow state. And I always remember somebody trying to explain to me what flow state was once upon a time because I couldn't quite get it. And I said, "Oh yeah, I remember. I always loved dancing, and when I was in school, we had discos on a Friday night, and every Friday night youth club. But I would dance all evening. I
Yeah.
dance on my own. I didn't matter who it was. I was a headbanger anyway. But what the music was." I would dance, but it is in that moment you're dancing on your own and you just go up there and it's like, and that's what it is. It might be
Mhm.
something to somebody else, but that's what it is. And it's that transcendental feeling. And therein lies in all your answers.
Yes. It has been lovely to speak to you today. I've learned so much.
There's always something to learn from me.
Yeah. I was just going to say, is there anything else you want to share before we leave?
Um, well, just a reminder about the workshop. If
Yep.
if you fancy coming along to workshop, they say that is gentle and unfolding for you. You will get an art piece at the end of it. You don't have to have experience. You don't have to be any good at it. It's all about the empowerment, the peace that you feel during and after, and that's what it's all about. So if that calls to you, as they say, let me know. And yeah, or if you want,
Yeah.
commission somebody for Christmas or anything like that, just please get in touch. And also come to Sarah's Celebrating Women in Business meetings because they are the most lovely, non-judgmental, and it wasn't coming out right, and non-judgmental people that allow you to feel relaxed and be you.
Well, thank you. That's very nice, and it's nice to hear because we aim to support people, and we understand that different people will require different needs, have different needs, and stuff like that. So it's nice that we can all come together. I couldn't do it by myself, so thank you for being part of it because, yeah, as I said, I can't do it all by myself, but we've created a lovely community.
Definitely. You're welcome.
So before I go, I just wanted to let everybody know that Kris can be found um, on Instagram at Sky Blue Pinks Art
Yeah.
and on Facebook, Sky Blue Pinks Artist Kris Davies. That's correct?
And that's
Yep.
Kris with a K.
Fantastic, thank you. And if anybody wants to join us at Celebrating Women in Business, we can be found on Instagram, Celebrating Women in Business. I think our page is the same, and our group is Celebrating Women in Business South Wales. So, hope you've enjoyed as much as I have, and we will speak to you all soon. See you later.
Thank you.